Welcome to today's study session. We're going to be going over the different types of malware, and we'll be looking at a report showing the types of malware over the past year within 2020. So let's get started with ransomware and crypto malware. As you know, ransomware is a type of malware that encrypts files and folders on a user's device. The different targets for ransomware not only include individuals, but also large organizations and corporations, regardless of the type of industry. We've seen in the last few years that attackers target industries ranging from financial institutions, banks, all the way to health insurance providers, hospitals, government institutions, state and local governments, as well as the federal government. Attackers will infect a target device with ransomware, and that ransomware will encrypt the entire contents of the device, including all the files and folders. Then the attacker will demand a payment by sending a message to the affected user along the lines of, you can pay us X amount of currency, usually in the form of cryptocurrency, and the attacker will then decrypt those files and folders. Now, there's an inherent risk when a user is infected with ransomware. Should they pay off the attacker? Is there any guarantee that the attacker is going to actually decrypt the files and folders? Or will they just leave them encrypted once they get their money? So this is the calculation that needs to go in the mind of the user that's affected by ransomware. As we've seen, ransomware can target any type of user, not just individual users, but also entire corporations or government agencies. And attackers are unscrupulous about the files and folders that they encrypt. They don't care as long as they give a chance of getting paid. And many times, firms will actually pay off the ransom. A study conducted within the past year showed that at least a third of people affected by ransomware paid off their attackers rather than dealing with repercussions or trying to recover the data on their own. Now, how do you prevent ransomware, or how do you try and mitigate the risk of ransomware? Well, ransomware can be mitigated through the use of anti-malware tools, and the primary form of mitigating ransomware attacks is using backups. If you've backed up your data, then you have your own storage of data, your own backups that can be restored. So if an attacker has encrypted what they can get their hands on, you can simply just restore your information from your backups, and then you'll have all of your data just fine. You won't have to pay off any ransom or trust some anonymous third party has already done you harm to get your stuff back. Another type of malware that we've seen is crypto malware. And crypto malware will take over a device and then use the CPU cycles of that device to mine cryptocurrency. This type of malware is designed to run in the background of a target device and to be as least disruptive as possible. So the longer that malware runs undetected, the more valuable the malware becomes for the attacker, because it can mine more and more cryptocurrency. So that can be very helpful and very lucrative for an attacker. We've seen this more so when Bitcoin and many of the different types of cryptocurrencies spiked in 2017, but this type of malware is still around. And many times attackers will target different types of cryptocurrency, not just Bitcoin. A lot of times attackers will target Monero, which is a type of cryptocurrency that doesn't track user actions as well as many others. It doesn't track them in a rolling ledger that's available for everybody. Basically, any Monero coin can be exchanged for any other at any time, which gives attackers a great deal of anonymity. Internet of Things devices, smart TVs, smartphones, or smart refrigerators, appliances in the home that have added embedded systems, added functionality that can connect to the internet. These devices that have not traditionally been incorporated within a home network, these devices are often targeted for types of malware like this because those devices still have embedded systems and processors that can perform calculations, but they usually have very limited security associated with them. Let's take a look at a report here created in the last year that shows the different types of malware and what we can expect from that different type of malware. So let's take a look real quick. This is a report from the Center for Internet Security. And this is an organization that performs research on different methods that attackers are using, different types of malware that's out there, and different, all different cybersecurity threats within the field. So they conducted a study recently. This is within the past year. And the data goes into March 2020. Obviously, a lot of these studies and a lot of these threat intelligence firms were disrupted by COVID, but this information is still pretty relevant. It provides a 6-month study up until that point. And we still see these types of malware available throughout the internet. So I still think this information is pretty relevant from what I've seen. And I like how they presented the information. I think it's a very easy to understand format. So let's take a look at the report here. So it's a very simple report. It's talking about the top 10 types of malware that's most prevalent within 2020. Okay. So we have, here's the top 10 type of malware by percentage in a pie chart, with the top types of malware being Dridex, Zeus, CompTIA, and it goes down the line with Ghost, CryptoWall, etc. Coin miner here, as you can see, that's a type of crypto malware. So if we go down the list here, coin miner is a cryptocurrency miner that uses Windows management instrumentation. So this would be a crypto malware, just like we were talking about, and Eternal Blue to spread across a network. So this uses a Windows service, Windows management instrumentation, to perform cryptocurrency mining using the user's device. This targets Windows devices. Now we see other types of malware here. Let's take a look at some of the other types of malware. We'll come back to this report, but this report is telling us the top 10 types of malware that CIS has seen within the past 6 months, going from October 2019 to March 2020. The top 2 types of malware that we see here, Dridex and Zeus, are Trojans. Now, what exactly is a Trojan? Let's go over that here. If you're familiar, Trojan horses are types of malware that attach themselves to other types of malware. So if we're talking about a Trojan horse, we're talking about any type of malware, but that type of malware is going to be attaching itself to a legitimate form of software. So it's disguising itself as a legitimate form of software. And oftentimes Trojans can be found on torrent sites or sites where users can pirate files and folders and videos and music and movies. So what attackers will do is they'll upload a torrent with maybe a popular song, and they'll attach a piece of malware, and that gives users incentive to click on that link, click on that software. Or they might hijack an existing site that offers legitimate software and upload the same software but attach a Trojan to it. So Trojans can include any type of malware. They can include crypto malware. They can include keyloggers, backdoors, worms, traditional viruses, any types. It's just when that piece of malware attaches itself to a legitimate piece of software, that's when it becomes a Trojan. Special type of Trojan known as a remote access Trojan will provide attackers a backdoor and a means to get remote access into a system. Remote access Trojans also typically mimic traditional software. And a very famous remote access Trojan is the Sacula rat, or remote access Trojan. They're normally called rats. This one communicated through HTTP on port 80 and HTTPS on port 443, so it mimicked traditional internet traffic. It was very hard to detect, and this was the type of Trojan that was believed to be used in the 2015 Office of Personnel Management breach, which affected many government employees, affected myself as well. A remote access Trojan will create what's known as a backdoor. Now, a backdoor allows attackers a means to control a system remotely. This will be created to allow attackers to maybe perform more exploits or change configuration settings within the target machine. And a rootkit is a type of backdoor that provides complete access. The term rootkit comes from the root account within a Linux or Unix operating system. It will allow an attacker to gain full access by embedding itself within that root account. Or if you're using a Windows machine, it'll be the administrative account. Because rootkits have that access to the administrative account, they can avoid detection, because antivirus tools tend to avoid areas that have administrative privilege. So a normal virus scan would not detect a rootkit or something embedded within a trusted account, because the antivirus program would not have the permissions first off to scan that and would not see that trusted account as compromised. So it's compromising an already trusted portion of the operating system. Now let's go back to our report here, and we see within our report the top two types of malware, Dridex and Zeus. And Zeus has been around for a long time. Zeus has been around since 2011. Zeus is a banking Trojan, so it's designed to steal user credentials, banking credentials primarily, so that users, when they log into a banking website or a web application, a banking web application, their credentials are then skimmed from that piece of malware and sent off to an attacker, so an attacker can then log into the site as a legitimate user. So Zeus works by keystroke logging, and the attacker is actually going to be able to see everything that the user types in to their device. So this will include any password they're typing in, any, say they're doing internet chat, all the chat, any of their search terms. All of these things are going to be viewable by an attacker, and that's pretty scary to think about. Think about an attacker, somebody, a stranger, being able to see all of the things you type in your computer. Now, attackers are mostly interested with Zeus in that banking credential information, but still, there's a great deal of information that can be exploited in that way. Now, Dridex, which is the #1 Trojan seen within this study, uses macros in Microsoft Office. Now, Microsoft Office includes files like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. And these programs sometimes use macros, which are a series of instructions that work via script, and they'll perform multiple actions all at once. So when you have scripts enabled with these programs, you have to manually enable those scripts. You're opening yourself up to these types of attacks that use scripts within those programs. And if an attacker is able to embed a malicious script into a Microsoft Office file, then that type of Trojan can be installed. Now, how do you get these Trojans, right? These Trojans, obviously, when they infect your system, are very harmful. Well, we have a portion of the study here dedicated to that, and we have 3 different types of methods. First is dropped, which would be malware that's delivered via malware that already exists on the system. So you might have a backdoor already infected the system, and then that is used to install other types of malware. That is the least most common method of spreading the malware. Multiple types of methods. These are malware that can be introduced using multiple attack vectors. And attack vectors are methods in which attackers are able to install or disseminate malware. So Zeus, CryptoWall, and CoinMiner use multiple vectors. So they might be using other types of malware to install that type of malware. They could be using spam or malicious emails to install the malware. That would be where a user would click on an email link within an email or go to a malicious website. So these can be, or even malvertisement. Malvertisement is an advertisement that will click, when you click on the advertisement, it sends the user to a malicious website where malware can be downloaded. Malspam are unsolicited emails. These are spam emails that if a user opens the email or clicks on a link within the email, they're taken to a website where you have what occurs a drive-by download, where malware is downloaded and installed without the user's knowledge. And that's the most common method for dissemination here. We see that with this chart here. So these are the three main methods in which these types of malware are disseminated. And as we see, this is broken out by month, what type of methods were used within each month. And sometimes you have different events will affect how malware is disseminated, but a lot of times you're still going to see the traditional method, spam emails and unsolicited emails as the primary method, because it's very easy for a user to accidentally click on an email or click on a link in an email and get that malware installed. So those are those types of malware, and I think this is a pretty good report. If you want to take a look for this report yourself, I'm going to be posting a link in the chat. And if you have any questions about this or anything else with Security Plus, send me an email, info@cybercrafttraining.com. I'd be happy to help. Right now we're running a special on our Security Plus comprehensive course. Now's the best time to get into cybersecurity. Currently you have a huge drawback within many industries. So many industries are in decline due to our current situation, but despite that, cybersecurity is still growing. It's expected to grow by $21 billion within 2021 alone. And you still see tremendous job opportunities potential within the cybersecurity field. And that's because the need for cybersecurity professionals is greater than ever. More people are working from home. Companies are having to expand their network, expand their capabilities to accommodate these remote workforces and change how they do business. They need to rely more on cloud computing, on networking, and they need cybersecurity professionals to protect their data and ensure that business can continue in a safe and secure way. That's why Security Plus is so important right now. Security Plus individuals, certified Security Plus professionals can expect to earn an average yearly salary of $85,000 per year. So I invite you to click the link in the description, take a look. I have a video that outlines everything you need to know. You take our comprehensive course, our Security Plus comprehensive course, and get certified within one week. Earn that $85,000 per year with our in-depth training. We provide you 40 hours of content, and we teach you everything you need to know so you can pass the exam on the first try. So I hope this study session helped. Again, if you have any questions, reach out. Thanks again for joining. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Take care.